years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Getting less infected by the day, live from New York. It's the Ramble with me. I'm Alex Bennett. And we're here until, let's see here, midnight tonight, Eastern Daylight Time. Okay? How's the lighting today? Is it okay? Is it all right? Let me just move this over a little bit. There we go. Okay. I don't care. I give up. I'm trying to get a new light over here, but the company, it broke, and so the company, it's under warranty, and the company said they would get a hold of me and let me know about what we're going to do about replacing it, but they haven't yet. But I sent them all the information. So I'm coughing tonight. We have had, I read, it is the worst, literally the worst allergy season ever, okay? And supposedly it gets worse every year, but it's pretty terrible this year. And my eyes have been burning all day, and it wasn't until I just now when I went on the air that I was coughing a little bit, and I'm feeling a little, It's not the COVID. Haven't got a temperature, so. But it is hot in here, and I'm trying to get that air conditioning going good. I had it on, and then it was too cold, so anyway. First of all, let's go over and let's take a look, hold on a second, at the map, see what's happening in the world with the coronavirus. Total confirmed in the world now is 6,377,596, with 380,205 deaths, of which yesterday only something like 54 of them were in New York State, which is pretty damn good. We kind of went around the curve there, but who knows what's going to happen. Ooh, what was that? Who knows what's going to happen with this? Excuse me, I have to blow my nose. There we go. Who knows what's going to happen, because with all the demonstrations and everything, we could start infecting ourselves again. You know something? This map, I'll tell you, I really like this map because it's done by, who is it? The Johns Hopkins University. And it's pretty damn good, right? Except this center part just kind of goes along the line. It's all wonky. Let's take a look at the U.S. We got 1,831,806 cases of coronavirus, of which we have 106,180 deaths, okay? So now we're pushing ourselves way over where we were, okay? Brazil is number 2. They've now got, 555,383 with 31,199 deaths, and they haven't even seen the beginning of it, really. They're in bad shape. Russia is 3rd, and the United Kingdom is 4th. Spain is 5th. 6th is Italy. But all the way around, we're not doing too well. I'm not going to say much about it. Boy, I wish I weren't. I'm not coughing really so much as I have all this phlegminess, which I don't know. I shouldn't do the show when I'm not feeling well, but I do it anyway. Why? Because I say the show must go on. Let me make sure. Are we on okay? Yeah, we are. All right. Anyway, where are we? First of all, I want to tell you about the other night. The other night we had a show that just sucked. It sucked because I use a thing called Skype. And the reason we've used Skype for so long is because it allows me to do really nice stuff. It's not really well. What happens is it allows me to do what we call our panels, and it allows me to do this. Okay, and then along the side, I put in all the various pictures and stuff. And that's what Skype allows me to do. Now, there is a better system than Skype out today. As you all know, you've probably used it yourself. It's called Zoom. And I would use Zoom, except that Zoom, I either have to accept the picture Zoom gives me or nothing at all. In other words, I have to take the whole setup of people talking to each other. This one, I can put people where I want to put them, and so on. So for my use, Skype is better. It's not the better of the two systems, but it's better. All right? Okay. So anyway, where were we? Okay. So the other night, I don't know, what happens is occasionally they change Skypes on us. They upgraded. Hey, we've done a better Skype than the old Skype. What it is really now is we're playing catch up to Zoom. But anyway, they did something, and it made it so that when I answer a call, I try to add them to the group, but they wouldn't necessarily add to the group. And it took me literally 20 minutes to get a citizen panel assembled. Usually a person calls, I click on them, and they're automatically, boom, part of the citizen panel. But something between, what was it? It started on Thursday, this problem, but something between Wednesday and Thursday, they upgraded. And when they did the upgrade, it screwed me over. So what I've done tonight is I use a thing called Skype Preview, which puts me a kind of a step ahead of what you've got out there. But I figured maybe that was the problem. So I don't know, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm using the standard version of Skype, not Skype Preview, but the standard version of Skype, and we shall see if tonight we can get people to be part of the citizen panel, okay? And see if we can get them on. If we can't get them on, within a very short period of time, I've got Zoom ready to go, okay? And if you look at our the page you might be looking at us on, if you're looking at us on YouTube, it has a thing that says, if we need to use Zoom, the address is, and then you just click on that and you'll be able to call Zoom. But we're not going to go to Zoom yet. We want to see if the Skype will work, okay? Otherwise, we're going to, do Zoom. And we can go over to that very quickly, okay? So I'm ready to do that if need be, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the Skype lines, and let's just see if we can get people on okay. If we can, we'll continue to use Skype. If we can't, fuck Skype, we're going to Zoom. Now, you say, why don't you get a hold of people over at Skype and see what the problem is? Try and find a way to talk to anybody at Skype. It's impossible, so whatever. So anyway, our lines are open in case anybody wants to call. It's a little earlier than I normally have people call. So I'm just going to sit here twiddling my thumbs and waiting, because tonight is the night that okay, here comes Charles Wallace. Okay, now Charlie should come on okay.
Come on.
Right, Charlie? Hello, Charlie. Hold on a second. We got to wait for his picture to come through. There he is, you see. And as soon as he clicks, he gets a picture going. Turn on your, there we go. There's Charlie. Now, we wait for, turn down your audio. Yeah, okay. Here comes Jeff. Okay. And Jeff Zeller. Nope. Nothing. Oh, wait a minute. No, we got Jeff.
Wow.
Wow. Well, maybe using this other one works. Let me see here. Let me go here and let me put Jeff in here. Jeff goes there. Okay, Jeff. Pum? Okay. Hey, Jeff, how are you?
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not using the preview. I'm using just the regular Skype. So maybe that will solve the problem. I don't know.
Find out.
Last night we did a special show over on Facebook using Zoom, which really works well. I mean, it's terrific, but it's not as useful as this is to me. Let me see. That's Brian Neary just called, and I accepted him, but he didn't come through. Wait a minute. Well, let's Cabinet Live. Oh, yeah, no, here he comes. There we go. We got him. Okay.
I'm the guinea pig, I think, right?
So Brian Neary.
If it works for me, it works for anybody.
Let's see. Brian Neary. Okay, is that it? Let's see here. There he is, folks. There's Brian. Well, what do you know? We got it working tonight.
It'll work for anybody then if I can get on.
Huh? Yeah.
Hello.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the ball and chain, is it?
No, she just got home from working a lot of COVID and stuff at work, so she's been working some long hours trying to get everything out for a lot of stuff. So she's doing good work.
Yeah. By the way, I have something to show people. We are, as you know, in the midst of a curfew. Oh,
yeah.
Listen, you can keep her on. She looks better than you do.
Yes.
She looks better than you do. Let me see. There's Phil, and we got Phil coming in. All right, we got it working, folks. We got it working, and it's only because I'm not using the Skype preview, so But
Yeah.
believe me, I had Zoom ready to go. So, what have you. But last night we used Zoom, and it worked out pretty well, didn't it, Brian?
Yeah. Yep.
But
And when I could get I had my audio was off, but yeah, we're good.
yeah, let me
Nice
see
and
here.
clear pictures.
Hold on a second. I gotta. What? What is that?
I don't know. Can I hang up?
Is that ringing?
Yeah, it is. Let me hang up and try again.
Oh, okay. Let me see here. Okay, I'll put in
Yeah,
Phil.
And
Let's
really
see here.
clear pictures on Zoom. Really clear.
Very clear. Come on, Phil. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're there, but you're not showing up on the.
No picture.
No picture. Your picture is showing up on our little thing, on our screeny thing, but it's not. Not on the Skype itself.
You want me to flip the camera?
Flip the camera on and off. See what happens. There you go. Okay.
All right.
That was it. Well, so far, so good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then I gotta put Charlene in there, and she will go in the number 5 place. But it's a question if I can find her. I think she's this one, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. There we go. There's Charlene. And I guess I'm not going to be able to use Zoom tonight. Okay, well that's fine. I'm just as happy we got this working. You're right though, Brian. Zoom the picture looks great. If anybody wants to see what the show looked like last night, just go over to Facebook and look at it, and it looks great. But you'll see that I can't do things like, well, I'm going to show you folks something that I've set up. This is really silly. As you know, we're under quarantine here.
Curfew.
Huh?
Curfew.
Curfew. We're under curfew, and if I do this, here's our curfew cam looking out the window in the other room. I got this set up so you can see it. Now, the reason the cars are not allowed to be traveling below 96th Street, we're above 96th Street, so that's why you will see a car go by every now and then. But I don't think you really see any people out on the street, do we? Trying to see. Do we see anybody out
I
there?
think they're all on the Manhattan Bridge, Alex.
Are they? Why are they at the Manhattan Bridge?
In Brooklyn, I don't know. They're trying to get them out, to go away because the curfew is over. It was 8 o'clock and it's now
The
10
curfew
something.
isn't over. The curfew is on.
Yeah, and they're trying to like get them out, but they have some violence again a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
Remember
they're going over the
Yes.
Manhattan Bridge.
yesterday I said 11 o'clock was too late, remember?
Right, right.
Yeah, well, tonight they decided to make it 8.
Yeah,
Right.
I talked to Cuomo.
Yeah, so they're closing Macy's early.
Yeah, right. They devastated Macy's. My God, I used to work there. Oh my God, they devastated Macy's. I can't believe that.
At Macy's, there's a looters sale going right now
Yeah.
till midnight.
Yeah.
They trashed the place. I can't believe that. No Miracle on 34th Street this year, maybe.
No.
They
Rick-
have
Beyond
they have organized baseball across the street in the baseball fields. It must be practice or something, but they have maybe about 25 or 30 kids out there playing baseball with their coaches.
Really?
Yeah,
are they wearing masks,
helmets.
helmets?
Yeah,
Thank God they're
it's-
wearing the helmets.
they usually have soccer like 1 or 2 times during the week. They have a lot of stuff going on. This is the first time I've seen people out there. They're They're actually playing a simulated game or something. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I go yell at them, curfew time. Get out.
I'll show you what I can do here. I can actually put the curfew cam on here. Let me see here. Let me see here. Let me go back to you guys and see the curfew cam. Everybody is down there in the bottom. So
Here's a car there.
yeah. So there's our curfew cam. We'll have that as part of the picture tonight. Anyway, boy, all of a sudden I started coughing just before I went on the air. I've been no temperature or anything like that, so it's not the corona, and I'm breathing fine, but got a tickle in the throat all of a sudden. A lot of stuff out there. Well,
I hate when that happens. Yeah.
see if I can last the show. Yeah, it's amazing all the things we've been going through here. God bless it.
The first step of the COVID.
Well, yeah, it probably is actually. No,
Where's
you
your
can
coffee tonight? No coffee?
I have it right here.
Oh.
But it doesn't seem to be helping at all.
Charlotte said that just like a New Yorker. Coffee.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
The first time I had seen who is he? Is he the head of the police? He was on Cuomo today. What's that guy's name?
What is that guy's name?
He was the head of the state troopers, I think.
Yeah, it was he. Yeah. He seems like a typical head of cop New Yorker. Same with the voice and everything,
Yeah. There's a certain cop essence that exists.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do with the fact that they hang with each other a lot, and so they rub off on each other and become this kind of semi-culture in a way.
Like
and
that
so
movie,
they have,
Copland?
They have cop speak, they just have a way of talking to each other. Am I right, Phil? Yeah, I'm not wrong when I say that, am I?
There is, although I was on this retired police officers Facebook page group, and for the first time in being a cop, I was embarrassed to see the postings that were on this group. Matter of fact, I even I got off the group. I got rid of them. I said, someone posted a picture of a woman that got hit in the head in the forehead with a rubber bullet, and there's 14,000 members of this retired site, and you have to be verified to be on it. Well, anyway, they were saying things like, "Well, if you're going to go out and protest, that's the price you're going to pay. Tough. She got what she deserved." To a man or woman posted on this thing, and so I said, if her head was turned slightly to one side and she got hit in the temple, that would have been murder. And I couldn't believe the amount of people that were vicious. They were worse than Gabnet viewers on your chat. I said, there's no excuse for hitting someone in the head. And they said, well, these bullets, they're not as accurate. I said, well, if you can't be sure of your shot, you don't take it. It's very simple. And so after maybe 6 or 7 retorts and 4 or 5 people just being animals, I cut the group out and said, screw this, I don't need this. But one of the last things I said was, you embarrass me for the first time being a police officer, that my brothers would post this kind of garbage. And you're the mob. This is the mob. And you're as bad as the people that are throwing bricks.
What, is this the new Phil?
No, it's not.
Yeah, I want to know, Alex, if this is the new Phil, would you take the knee out there, Phil, the way that the cops are taking the knee?
No,
Huh?
if I took the knee, I couldn't get back up.
You'd hold the Bible, right? You'd hold the Bible.
The only difference, I have been this way since day one. I have never changed, but I was embarrassed and I was offended by the attitude of these guys. And what I said was, I'm really glad you guys are retired and not active.
Really?
Because you guys embarrass me. And
well, those are the guys I've been encountering my whole life.
Well, these guys are retired. They wouldn't say this if they were on the job, but
They would still feel it.
I have.
They would treat us that way.
I have a guy who's black. He's got dreadlocks and the whole thing. He worked for me, and he was in the store today, and I said to him, do you, you live in Oakland, do you ever feel in fear of police? And he said no, but he did say a couple of things that made me take pause. And he said, well, if they pull me over, they don't really bust my chops or anything. They they're pretty cool with me. I said, yeah, but why'd they pull you over? He says, well, they asked if we had guns or drugs. And I said, did they have a reason to ask you if you had guns or drugs? He said, no. And I said, well, that's not right. They got to have a reason. And I wouldn't do it if I wouldn't pull somebody over and ask them if they have guns or drugs if I had no probable cause for it. So it just made me take pause that people would have this kind of crappy attitude, especially people that 20, 30 years did a job that you have to be a professional. And I said, you guys aren't professionals.
Hey, Rob, how are you? Welcome to the new Phil.
Phil always been this kind of Phil. That's why we're friends.
No, I understand, Phil. It's kind of like, I imagine at times I've been embarrassed by people in my profession. It's not as serious as when you're questioning people in your profession or in your alleged profession. That I get upset too by certain things that they would do or not do or whatever. So I understand. And it's good you feel that way. You're not taking the dogmatic police approach that everybody's wrong in this matter.
I did the police, the proper police approach, which is, have probable cause. Don't act like this. You're acting like thugs and punks, the same way that the people are acting on the street that are throwing rocks and bricks.
Yeah.
There's no difference.
Just remember, those guys were very influential, bringing up the next generation of police too. So hopefully that keeps dissipating, or less and less being trained like that.
The new generation of police have been neutered. They're afraid to do anything, and the bad guys know it. That's why they're burning down precincts, and that's why they're looting, because they know no one's going to stop them.
Charlie.
The cops I saw during all of this protesting didn't seem scared to do things. I saw these people just standing there quietly, not even moving, and a car drives by with cops in it, and he just sprays pepper spray all over everybody. They weren't doing anything. They weren't rioting. They weren't smashing any windows. They just sprayed pepper spray.
You know,
there's this like 10-year-old girl that got sprayed pepper spray in the face. You think she was rioting?
Did you see that in person, or did you see it on video?
The video's all over the internet.
Well, I understand. It's just that as a photographer, I know I can take a picture from an angle and show you whatever.
Man of many hats, Phil. Go ahead.
and you know, the thing is, just believe none of what you see, and what you hear, and half of what you see, because what you're seeing is filtered the way
there's enough of it out there to know that it's going on.
I think that what we're seeing, Phil, I mean, the stuff that we see, I know what you're saying, Phil, because it's always been said that the trouble with television coverage of stuff is that it's shooting in those days it was a square picture, but now it's a rectangular picture. Mm-hmm. And whatever is on this side of it and that side of it, you're not seeing, and that may contribute to the tone of what's going on. But in the case of, for instance, Floyd being literally choked to death, it's pretty obvious what's going on. You don't have to see either side of the picture to see what's going on.
Yeah, but I think that the cop that did it, I don't know, Chauvin. I think
Chauvin.
Chauvin. He had a screw loose. I mean, if he's on the guy and he has one of his hands in his pocket.
3 on the guy.
I understand.
There's 3 guys on that.
The guy had his foot and his knee in the guy's neck. He had his other hand in his pocket. Now, I've tried to control someone while I'm arresting them and had them down on the ground, and believe me, I didn't have any of my hands in my pocket. Sometimes you had to protect your gun, but for the most part, if you can have your hand in your pocket, you had control. Plus, there were 3 other guys there. The guy was in cuffs. There was at the point that you have a person down or a person gives up, you must stop what you're doing and go into a different mode, which is get them up, dust them off, put them in the car, and book them.
Wasn't he already handcuffed?
Yeah, he was handcuffed. So this cop either had a screw loose or he had a mental breakdown at that moment. And I think that he's going to have a defense, which is called temporary insanity. And I think the guy was insane. Why would he freeze in that position for 8 minutes with his knee in the guy's neck and not listen to anything or anybody? I have a feeling that this guy, there's something wrong. Now, it'd be unfortunate for him to get away with it.
What about his record?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what about his record? You have to take his record into account.
Yeah, well,
who are you going to put in jail for that? Who are you going to put in jail for letting him still be a cop after 18 complaints?
That's a really good question. You know, the mayor of Minneapolis is, I think at fault. I think the police department.
But how long has he been a mayor? He hasn't been a mayor as long as this guy's been a cop.
No.
Isn't there a commission or something that regulates all the police, right? They must go through some kind of process.
Yeah. I got holed up in front of IA once. What happened was it was a nice night. I was pulling down the street. Mm-hmm. There was 4 or 5 guys standing up against the garage door, and I said, "Hey, boys, how you doing?" And they said, "Hey, we're fine." 2 seconds after that, some guy came out of the bushes with a weapon, and we ran after him, myself and the partner that I had in the car, and we got into a house and got the guy down in his living room and arrested him. Well, what happened was there was a complaint lodged, and someone said that I said boys. And so they interviewed the 4 or 5 guys that were over at the garage door, and they said, no, he was just being friendly and nice. There was no racial, no thing. So I was brought up in front of IA, but I was cleared.
Okay. Yes, Charlene.
Well, do you know, Phil, that the Floyd and the cop Chauvin were bouncers together at a club? So I don't know, I'm not going to make wild conjecture, but we have to wait and see if I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about the
to
trial
begin
or
with, I don't
whatever.
know what that has
Facts
to
come
do.
out.
I don't know
Maybe
what
he had some kind of vendetta.
Charlene, I don't know what that has to do with this.
Well, they're
Because-
saying they knew one another.
Well,
I
the thing
saw
is that
Prior
who
history.
worked as a bouncer?
Chauvin and
Floyd
Floyd.
and Chauvin.
Floyd. Well, they knew
worked,
each other.
they worked at a club together.
I thought you. I thought you
To the
meant.
owner of
I
the
thought you
club.
meant a couple of cops knew each other, and usually cops side moonlight as bouncers many times.
They
No,
make a
they-
lot of money.
these were the guys.
Yeah.
The cop and the guy that he was arresting. They had known each other.
Let me tell you what.
Previously.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you what's bothering me. Thank you, by the way. I believe, were you with us last night, Rob? See, I'm kind of no.
Wait, last night was Monday, right?
I know. I did a FaceTime.
It was an
a
awesome
Facebook.
show.
I did a
though.
Facebook.
Shecky was on, right?
Yeah, I did a Facebook show. But anyway, the last night I alluded to this, but I really think it's true. Okay, it has been said that if this thing goes on into the election time, these demonstrations, the riots, whatever, that it's going to help Donald Trump get reelected. I think. Wait a minute. Let me finish. Let me finish, Phil. I don't think this is lost on anybody, especially Donald Trump. All of a sudden, he's going after Antifa, or what's it called?
Yeah.
Antifa.
Antifa.
What's that?
Antifa. You tell me,
Left-wing
it's
organization.
almost an imaginary organization, okay?
Yeah.
It is being used as a scapegoat by Donald Trump. That it's Antifa, and we're going to call it a terrorist organization. Well, to begin with, you can't call Americans a terrorist organization. You can't treat them that way. You can say they're criminal.
Who up the Borough building in Oklahoma? Is he a terrorist?
Timothy McVeigh.
Technically,
He's not a terrorist organization.
He's not a terrorist organization.
Domestic terrorist.
Those guys up in the mountains, they're terrorists.
What about all the Trump supporters when they were bombing CNN and they were, are those terrorists?
You can't put that on them. You don't know that. From
Well, I'm putting this.
Well,
wait,
you
let me
don't
let me
know it.
finish. Let me
Back
finish
to-
what I'm saying, and it's going to drive Phil up a tree. I think Donald Trump is inciting some of these actions and attributing them to Antifa. He knows that if he can get enough discord going on in this country like this and lawlessness, that this could get him reelected, because he's not going to get reelected on what he did with the COVID virus. So I think he's got people out there operating and creating distress in order to make him look better.
I think Tim has gotten to you.
No, I have a somewhat proof that this is true.
Like the rocks that are being delivered and the bricks that are being delivered.
Bricks are being
at
delivered. Yeah,
on
I
construction.
believe there's a brick delivery system that they have. Yeah.
And bottles with accelerants in them, and
Yeah,
and
well,
so,
you distribute those. You go down to the Antifa store and you can get them there.
yeah, and you can get them at a discount on Gabnet too.
Yeah, Charlie.
The store.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all remember the 1968 riots during the Democratic Convention, but it was proven that there were undercover cops instigating the violence during those riots. The cops were actually starting the violence so that the
Yes.
cops could then come in and bash heads.
Mm-hmm.
1776, Charlie, they were dumping tea into Boston Harbor, and it was Trump supporters that were dumping the tea.
Anyway, enough of the joking. I'm trying to be serious about this. I honestly think
Me too.
that our president has conspiratorial agents working, doing this stuff to
I have no doubt about
create dissension and rioting in the cities, and he's blaming it on Antifa. Now, do you think it's Antifa? Do you think Antifa is doing anything, Phil?
Yeah.
They don't exist. That's not an organization.
Yeah, they don't exist to begin with. Let me tell you what Antifa is. It's an organization that's been around since what, the 1800s, maybe 19, and they were against fascism, Nazism, the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, they're against all the things we're against. Okay, but somehow he has singled these people out as the imaginary enemy that is causing these problems. I want to show you something. This is an actual. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it immediately because I'm going to put it up here. This is a tweet from Antifa America. Okay, it says, "Alert! Tonight's the night, comrades. Tonight we say, fuck the city, and we move into the residential areas, the White Hoods, and we take what's ours. Black Lives Matters, Maters, fuck America," and that is from Antifa America. That is a tweet that was taken off by Twitter. And you know why it was taken off by Twitter? It was found that it was put up by right-wing groups.
Oh, boy.
I'm sure there's disinformation everywhere. There's Russian bots that give you disinformation because they're trying to sow discord. And they're doing a very, very good job, even on the people that are sitting here tonight.
I see. Anyway, the point is, and I think we have to think this very seriously. This president is going to benefit from this rioting, from these demonstrations, because all the white people in America are going to be so frightened. Oh, please, President Trump, save us. Now, I want to ask you, how
if it goes on that long, then it's proven that he can't save anybody. How about that thought? Could you imagine if we have that kind of rioting going on until November?
I don't think we're going to.
He would be ineffective.
No, there's going to be a plague right after the riots, another plague, but this will be locusts. Trump and these riots will be over in a day or two. If these governors don't act and allow the police forces, like in New York, the police force could handle it, but de Blasio is telling the police force to stand down.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Oh, yeah.
Phil, I'm following this every day.
That's
said he was he's thinking about overriding the mayor.
Yes,
because the mayor wasn't effective at getting them to go in there, but he wasn't saying that he was going to hold the police down, Phil.
Yeah, he says don't arrest people.
No, he didn't say that. They arrested how many did they arrest last night? 400, something like that? Huh?
It was 200.
400.
What's happening is the people, the rioters, whether you want to call them Antifa or you want to call them something else, but they are rioters and they're looters and they're doing destruction.
Well, wait a minute. There's a difference between rioting and looting.
No, you can protest, and there's a difference between protest and rioting.
Phil, you know why people riot? Because you won't listen to them.
Get away with
because you won't listen to them. But rioting is far different than looting. I mean, looting is just wholesale theft. Okay?
Yeah, looting is theft.
Rioting is frustration.
Well, you have plenty of people that want peaceful
bullshit on peaceful. You know what peaceful gets you in America? Bupkis. It doesn't get you anything. Am I right, Charlie?
So some poor bastard that built his life making up a sewing shop or something and gets it burned down, and his life and his ability to support his family is over.
Phil, you're using an extreme. Okay, but what about if they burn down Walmart?
Yeah. Well, they're
what if they burn down Walmart?
Well, the fat people have nowhere to go.
No, Phil, what about Walmart? I feel sorry for the small shop owner. Small shop owner is probably going to be out of business anyway because of the coronavirus situation. So maybe getting his place torched, he can get the insurance money where the other way he couldn't. Yes, Charlie. Charlie?
Colin Kaepernick tried to peacefully protest. Look where it got him.
Oh, let's look at this.
That was your peaceful protest.
Oh, is that an Amber Alert?
It's an Amber Alert saying, everybody go indoors. It's past curfew.
Wow. Curfew?
Yeah, it's a citywide curfew in effect at 8 p.m. I'm sorry, it's already 8 p.m.
I'm going to go shopping.
But I get a little tired of these people saying things like, well, we gotta really you do it peacefully, and you go, why? What does doing it peacefully get you? It never got anybody anything. The blacks in America did not make any real advances until the whites felt threatened.
Wasn't it Martin Luther King that advocated peaceful protest?
Yes, and it was, but I didn't like him.
And then he changed his mind.
I didn't like him. My guy was Malcolm X, who said the only thing Americans understand is violence. If you don't get violent towards them, they don't understand.
Well, they also understand voting. And that's the way you make changes in this country. If you want change, you go to the polls and you vote.
Oh,
that's the way you get heard.
Yes, Phil. Yes.
But you got a guy running for president right now that's got 40 years in government, 8 years as a vice president, and what has he done? Nothing.
Talk today like a president should.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Yeah, they wound him up.
Huh?
They wound him up, and they a little cord behind his.
Well, believe me, it looked a lot more presidential than Trump did yesterday, holding that fucking Bible up in front of a church.
Upside down.
And it was upside down.
Down Bible.
You get pissed off when a guy holds a Bible, but you don't get pissed off when people burn the church down.
Phil, the person who runs that church didn't like what Trump did yesterday. She said
we don't get pissed off when people burn a church down. That is a fucking lie.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Trump stood up and did what he could to protect it and to protect it in the future so that they don't bomb it again.
Oh, he was protecting it?
Yeah, now he moved those crowds out.
Oh yeah,
and,
he moved those crowds out. Wait a minute, Phil, you're completely wrong. They moved the crowds out using tear gas and shock grenades or whatever they call those things, so the president and his little pals could walk across the street to the church for the photo op with the Bible.
Yes, I'm sure it was a message.
Okay, Kevin, got something to say about this?
No, you just said it.
Yeah.
And then he went to another church, right? He went to another church.
Yeah, he went to a Catholic church today and did the same thing in front of the Archbishop, and they got pissed off as well.
The bishop was on CNN, and she said, "Why didn't he come 3 or 4 days ago when it was his birthday or something like that?"
Washington,
when it was,
I think, said he
you
didn't
don't
like
see any
the
of this
fact
as,
that he went over to
politics,
that
huh,
church
Phil?
and did what he
Photo
did.
ops, you don't
Absolute politics.
Some of it's politics. But on the other hand, that's all politics. Because you have to make a showing to show the people that would do harm and
Only
danger
reason,
to
Phil,
people
the only
that
reason that Trump went over to that church yesterday was to prove to people that he had the guts to walk across the street, because for 3 days he had been cowering in the bunker like a little Hitler.
Surface make them go in the bunker when those things happen. It wasn't cowering. If anybody's cowering,
they weren't at the front. They weren't at the front door, Phil.
He's not supposed to.
He was
be.
a little. He was. All I could think when they said he was in his bunker, I thought so was Hitler.
Yeah. Somebody said that Obama left that bunker dirty and without provisions.
Yeah. Well,
there was no gold leaf on the toilets.
When did Obama ever go into the bunker?
Paper. There was no toilet paper. They took it all.
When did Obama ever go in the bunker?
He didn't. That's why it was dirty. It's been there for probably since Bush was there.
Bush was probably the last
I
one
would say if you look at the toilet seat, it's probably got some of Reagan's dookie on it.
Probably.
All right.
But I mean, him standing there holding that Bible
Backwards.
is about as awkward as him coming down the escalator. You know.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
having toilet paper on his shoe
And then
too.
making others get in the picture.
By the way, according to the polls, and the polls are done by, in some cases, Fox and people like that, Biden has a double-digit lead over Trump right now.
yeah. Well, I saw a poll today, and I don't know who did it, that there was a 1.4% difference between the two candidates when you take into consideration the
Stupidity.
the margin of error.
Was that a Fox
Uh,
data?
I'm not sure. I was
I
watching.
bet you it was Rasmussen.
It could have been Fox. I'm not sure.
I think it was probably. I bet you it was Rasmussen.
I don't think they mentioned. If they mentioned it, I wasn't listening close enough.
Yeah. I think today when I saw Biden, and I'm not a big Biden fan. He isn't my idea of a good time either. But I got to tell you, I watched him today. He was pretty damn good. He was trying to look presidential, and he didn't have to play presidential. He did a very nice job of doing it. Did you see it, Rob? Did you see Biden at all
I
today?
saw a sound bite.
Yeah. I thought he was very, very good. What did you think, Charlie?
Yeah, this part I heard, he sounded pretty good.
Brian?
Yeah, and like I said before, even if he's propped up and somebody's writing it for him and all that stuff, that's what I want in Biden. I don't, like you say, Alex, I don't think he's the all-star candidate for us, but I think that he's going to have the right people in place and telling them the right things to do, and he's going to make those correct decisions.
Yeah.
And he's saying things that'll help tamp the violence down, whereas Trump is saying things that escalates it.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, yesterday that speech he gave about he's giving a speech and he's saying, and I'm going to bring order to America, and I want to protect you, the Americans, and protect you and keep you from harm. Somebody wrote that speech for him, obviously, because as a sociopath he is, he couldn't write it himself. And he reads that, and while he's reading that, the very people he says he's protecting are being tear gassed. And these aren't
the
riot
flashbangs are going off in the background.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
these aren't. These weren't people who were rioting. These are people who were just standing there, and they got tear gassed because they had to make sure they didn't get anywhere near the president while Mr. Braveheart walked across the street.
Now they claim there was no tear gas. It was all smoke bombs, but there was some pepper spray sprayed. I know that.
Yeah.
And pushing, a lot of pushing.
How come they don't use fire hoses anymore like they do still in Europe?
Oh,
They use these.
you're gonna bring that up.
Water
Or
cannons,
Sherman Shepherds.
They use them in.
but they use water cannons in Europe. and it works
Rob was
They
saying
use
something.
fire hoses in New Orleans for Mardi Gras at midnight when it's over. I was on the street when they came down the street.
That's how they clean the street off.
Yeah, man, you better not be in the path. I had no idea they were coming, and all of a sudden, you have the fire truck going down the street, and guys with hoses on either side spraying down everything. You ran for your life.
Yeah, but isn't there a little bit of a 1968 stigma to that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you
don't like gas.
Yeah. So far as the looting is concerned, and Cuomo said it today. He said, you have to separate demonstrating from looting. You have to, you can't lump them all like the president is doing into one giant ball of grief. The fact is that these people who are looting are doing an entirely different thing. They're going in and stealing,
Hey, they locked down Walnut Creek. I live in a residential kind of town.
I couldn't understand why they were doing that.
They looted stores. They broke into.
I know it. I saw it. Walnut Creek is not a place you'd even think about demonstrations going on, let alone looting.
Yeah. You think it's like the safest place. It's like Peyton Place,
Yeah.
Well,
I don't understand. To put a little different spin on this, I was watching a lot of the news coverage this afternoon, and I don't understand the difference between all of these people together and a sporting event. I mean, why is it that we can't have sporting events now when everybody is in the streets on top of each other?
Well, it's because it's not it's not a organized sanction type thing. They're just doing it.
Well, so then what we could expect here in 2 weeks' time is probably not good news.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Exactly right.
It
depends.
Bob.
It depends. It depends on where. Cuomo said, "Please, everybody, try and still keep the safe distancing. Please wear a mask." He said, "We have taken the curve and brought it down to where there were only something like 175 new cases in New York State yesterday." Wait a minute, let me finish what he was saying. He said, "Because it is that low, we may be lucky in that there are not enough people out there to infect other people. So at least keep your distance. At least try to do it." He said, "We don't know whether if we've done our job, it may not crop up again because of the demonstrations, but we don't know. But in states where it's running rampant, it's going to get worse."
Yeah.
Did you see the memes coming out though? They have Trump holding like Stormy Daniels DVD instead of the Bible.
Well, he didn't know how to hold the Bible.
He like it was foreign
He held it upside down and backwards.
Surprised he didn't combust.
To begin with, I mean, I don't know who's advising him. He probably doesn't listen to anybody. He probably invents this all himself. But
I think they said it was him that thought of it.
Yeah, well,
he's a brilliant man. Let me tell you something. He's playing right to his base. He's doing everything he needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you don't go out there with the Bible. That's, as I said, that's the same as coming down the escalator, or even who was it that was windsurfing and lost the election because of the windsurfing video?
A long time ago.
But you don't put yourself in those awkward positions,
What? Somebody make a meme of the Trump with the Bible and change the face of the Bible to Mein Kampf. That's the next one that's coming.
Yeah, well, I'm just surprised that he held that Bible and didn't burst into flames.
Mm-mm.
Well, somebody asked, "Is that your Bible?" He said, "It's a Bible."
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a Bible.
He doesn't own a Bible.
He said, "It's a Bible."
Yeah.
Bible.
It
He
says,
doesn't seem like the biblical
look,
type.
it says Holly Bible on it.
He was
Yeah.
a playboy. He was a guy who had a lot of women, a playboy, who is a player up until right after his current wife gave birth, didn't give a crap that he's got a newborn in the house, and he's out there fucking around. This is a guy who carries a Bible?
Yeah.
Does now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He does now.
Well, I'm
because
glad the governor of Illinois spoke up on the call the other day. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, he spoke up and told him, "We're tired of your rhetoric." Basically, he turned around and said, "Well, I'm tired of you."
But that was a neener moment, I am, so are you,
How many cops were injured in Chicago yesterday? I think it was 133 during the riots. I don't think the governor there is doing such a good job.
Oh, there was 100.
Why? Is he going to go out and stop people from going after the cops? What can the governor do?
They work for him.
Yeah, but what can the governor do?
He can give them
if
the
people
ability.
are rioting and there are bricks being thrown and they get in the way of those bricks, what's he going to do? What can he possibly do, Phil? You're trying to blame the wrong person. You know what this is? Let me explain what is happening here. First of all, we had 95 days of staying at home. All of a sudden, it gets sunny. People would love to get outdoors. They do a little bit down in the Ozarks because they're missing teeth. They all go swimming with each other, but it was just harder to keep them indoors. Then all of a sudden this happens. If this had happened in the dead of winter, do you think we'd be having the demonstrations we're having right now?
No.
Do you think if we didn't have 95 days of staying at home, that people would come out for this sort of thing. This is the frustration of that boiling out into this, which is not bad because this is a worthy cause, okay? But
some people are saying that with the 100-degree heat, the riots may stop.
And what about the unemployment too? You have a lot of people that don't need to go to work on Monday, right?
Yeah.
So what else do they got to do?
They go shopping.
But what I'm
Macy's,
saying
you know?
is, you have the perfect storm here. That a lot of this is happening. You say, well, why? We had the coronavirus and now this. Well, one is not necessarily exclusive of the other. You know. So, how about you, Jeff? You've been quiet tonight.
I'm terrified of what's going on in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a son there in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I know he's just hanging out inside and not getting out, but ultimately he's got to get out, right?
All my friends in New York are going crazy. They said it's like helicopters all night, and noise and bullets.
Well, I live in Harlem, and I told Marjorie how remarkably quiet it is here. That most of the
not a lot of action.
The looting is happening downtown. It's not happening here. This neighborhood's been pretty quiet, all things told. And let me look at the picture here. Well, you see the car. They're just cars on the street. You don't see any people walking across the street. That's our curfew cam, by the way, folks. So, which is being transmitted from the other room, and I'm dangling a camera out the window.
There's 2 looters driving down the street in your cam.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They've got headlights, and they're looking to loot.
Well,
I had a great day today. I got up in the morning and I went to work at 7:30. I went out to my car, and there was a gash in the driver's door, and a note from the building super who said, "I'm sorry, I slipped and I dropped an appliance, and the dolly fell down and hit your door." And nice guy. I mean, I wouldn't do anything to make his life miserable. But then on the way home tonight, I get a flat tire. Except I get the flat tire just as I'm pulling into my garage. So I had to call AAA, and they came out and changed the tire. This was, it started with a door ding, and it ended with a flat tire.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because we needed to add some excitement to this show.
Yeah. When will it stop?
The memes keep going. So
I had a bit of a scare this weekend. My brother calls me. My mom is 90, just turned 90 in May.
Good for her.
And my brother calls me and says, my mother broke her arm, and she broke her. What do they call this bone here?
Ulna?
Humerus?
The femur or something.
Humerus is
like
this one.
humor, whatever.
Yeah.
She broke the top part here, and they rushed her to the hospital. And while she was in the hospital, they tested her for coronavirus, and they said she had coronavirus.
Oh no! Really?
Exactly. Right?
She got symptoms?
Oh my God!
She had no symptoms.
So maybe she's asymptomatic and just has the.
At 90?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Wasn't there somebody that was 100 that? And
was asymptomatic, really?
Mm-hmm.
So.
How else is her health though? Is her health? She's been healthy before. No problem.
Well, she's got dementia, so she doesn't have a clue as to what's going on with any of this, right?
Yeah.
There's no. And so we get this scare, and now you can't go visit her. You can't. My brother lives a mile from where she is. Can't go to the hospital to see her. Can't do anything. They said that we're going to retest her in 2 days. So they kept her in the hospital in the coronavirus ward.
Quarantine.
Yes. And then they retested her. She tested negative.
Those tests have. There's some question about the efficacy of those tests. Am I right, Brian?
That's what they've done with my mom. They've tested her going on 3 times now.
They finally sent her back to the home, telling her that they said we're going to test her one more time. If she comes back negative, we'll keep her for 24 hours, and then we're going to send her home. And that's what they did. They sent her back to her place. But now you got 2 weeks where you think, well, shit, she was in a room with corona. Supposedly, she was in a room with people who were getting over corona.
Yeah. Brian would like this. I've been watching TV, and they've been Abbott has been advertising their testing thing, and they've been running commercials like every half hour for the Abbott tests. And I have figured out that Abbott and
Abbott
are in cahoots.
But I mean, what does that say about we're all getting ready to go back to work, and for where I live, not a big deal, right? But in cities where you're going to get people being tested all the time, and the reliability of these tests is spotty.
That's why Brian says his test is 98%, and it's you only have to wait 45 minutes, and the tests that you wait 5 minutes aren't anywhere near as accurate.
They must be extremely expensive.
I don't know, Brian. What do you charge? $9.95?
I cannot say.
Act now.
More than that, though. But yeah, I mean, the sensitivity and the accuracy are the two biggest things that we look at. We're 99% on both of those. That's not coming from our things. Those are coming from other
independent.
Yeah, Abbott and Roche. I mean, it's like, what you want to drive a Prius to San Francisco or a Ferrari, and you want to get there fast, waste a lot of gas, or Prius you get there slower, and you'll get you're not going to pay as much of gas, and that's how it is. 15-minute test is great, but what's the accuracy?
You hear what Fauci said today? He said that there'll be thousands, or how much did he say? Anybody hear that? I don't remember the comment, but he said by the start of 2021, there will be a ton of COVID-19 vaccines available. He gave a number. I don't remember what the number was.
Well,
except they'll come up with COVID-20, and the 19 won't be needed any longer.
19.2.
Yeah.
And one thing that's scary, I think, is this didn't touch our food supply, which is that would be like the most devastating thing. So we don't know how bad this can get the next time, but pretty scary stuff.
Well, all I know is I'm still ordering from Costco through
my wife went today.
Instacart.
My wife went there today. I mean, we're not in New York City.
Yeah.
But she actually spent about an hour in Costco today. She goes like about once a month now. Mm-hmm. Instacart is like double the price of everything. We used it the one time. So if you buy a $10, the steaks, we bought the ribeye steaks. If I were there, I wouldn't have bought them, but she did. The 4 steaks that come in that big, they're nice steaks, the ribeyes, $80.
Yeah, but it's all pretty expensive right now. Because I've talked, because Marjorie went up to Stu Leonard's, and she usually brings me back a couple of steaks or whatever. She said I didn't buy them. She says the prices on the steaks were just extraordinary.
You know why I did it, or she did it, but I was like, well, okay, we've eaten out once in this entire time. Mm-hmm. So if it costs me $20 for a steak, it's going to cost me more than that at a restaurant.
But what I'm saying is that the meat is costing more. I find that really they're not charging me that much more for everything else at Costco using Instacart. The only thing is the charges that they charge you. But I spend what $20 back and forth for just a cab. So that pretty much starts taking up a lot of the price I would have paid for. So I'm maybe paying $15 more, and that's about it. But the problem is, like I ordered Clorox, not Clorox bleach, but the Clorox for colors or whatever, because Marjorie wanted it, and they charged me for it, but it didn't come. So, but I got a hold of Instacart. I said it didn't come, and they went, "Okay, we're taking it off your bill." There's no question.
I think I know why Costco hasn't been looted. The looters don't have membership cards.
I think they have been looted.
Oh, they
in some places, yeah.
But they don't have windows and stuff like that. I mean, they got roll-up doors.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a little bit more secure, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for people to get in there.
It's always that way.
There's no windows.
That's right, and there's somebody there at every entrance.
And there's some, those people work all around the clock. They have people who, like as my wife was looking into maybe going to work there, they have shifts around the clock. There was always people in there stocking, bringing, pallets and doing stuff. So they don't just close. There's always somebody working.
Yeah. But so so we're I'm just saying that I think that everything we're facing right now are all interlinked with each other. And
the whole United States is kind of screwed up right now, isn't it?
Yeah, and while I'm not going to excuse looting, I will defend rioting, okay? But I'm not going to defend looting. But if I had to make any kind of defense about looting, it would be that in this economy and the way things are right now, I can understand it more than in times where things are okay. All right? But I don't think these people are looting indiscriminately. As I said last night on television, somebody's reporting, and this guy is running behind them with a wooden chair. But that it was stolen because it was like a wooden chair that had no varnish on it or anything. It was just brand new, And I'm going, you went into a place to loot, and the best you could come up with is a fucking chair? If you're going to go to that much trouble, a 55-inch TV set might be a good idea. I saw people running out with TV sets.
People were carrying sneakers, didn't matter what size, clothes, and they're throwing it into their trunk, and you could see the license
plate
on the trunk.
They're going to get all these people.
I really hope so.
Yeah, but the trouble is we're all wearing masks.
Doesn't matter if like you said, if you have a license plate.
Yeah.
They're gonna.
They had a shot of that store, and sure enough, this car pulls up, and you just clearly see the plate and everything.
Yeah.
So funny.
And I'm telling my wife, I go, if only half of the cops get those license plates, I told her I'd go along there with the video camera and just take pictures of people, and then go down to the police department and say, "Here's my phone."
They don't want it, and you might get hit over the head, so you definitely don't want to be there.
We saw like those hanger, the whole things on wheels. We saw one guy running down the street.
Rolling rack. That's the rolling rack.
Yeah.
Wasn't that 7th Avenue?
Yeah, you see that garment district.
They get their
Right.
shopping carts and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, those guys were working. That was 7th Avenue in the clothing.
Right.
district.
I remember
They
that.
didn't return the
rolling
carts
rack.
either.
Yeah, well, let's see. We talked to Tony last night, and he said he hasn't heard about the hat store being looted yet.
I think he's isn't he rooting for that?
I think he was. Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants hats.
Yeah. No, I mean, people would go in there and go, "I don't want any of this shit."
This is
They
Chinese.
want the good stuff.
What's with that?
They want to raid Nike and all that stuff. Yeah.
But also our president is doing everything he can to divert our attention. He brings up China. Okay, we're back to China again. What else was he doing the other day that he was bringing up? It's anything he can throw against the wall and hope it sticks that will divert your attention from what a crappy job he's doing of this pandemic.
This is not over. This pandemic.
Oh no.
Rear its ugly head again,
No.
and the riots will settle down.
It's over. They got a new deal.
You're right.
You know
I told you in a text the other night. I hope I will be the first one to say to you, Phil, I was wrong, but I hope that's the case. I do not believe it for one hot second.
Contra Costa County opened up tomorrow. All retail,
That
shop.
doesn't mean anything. What's changed since the day we closed everything?
Nothing.
Okay, so that's what I mean. You think this just ran its course and it's just saying, okay, see you, United States. I'm out of here. We caused enough havoc.
An overreaction, like Trump said.
No, it wasn't an overreaction, Phil. If it was an overreaction, our numbers in New York State would not have gone down because we took aggressive action, the people and the governor and the powers that be, to bring it down. In states where they didn't, it's going up, Phil. So don't tell me. Yeah.
Was the end of businesses planning for shit that could go wrong and governments planning for shit that could go wrong, because everybody really planned for Y2K.
I lost 3 years of data.
I Well, okay, you did, right? But I started in IT. I left television in 97, and my first 3 years in IT, I spent a lot of time working at a company where we were making companies Y2K compliant. Remember the Y2K compliance and all that stuff, right? So Y2K comes that night at midnight. Everybody sat there with their fingers in their ears waiting for something to happen. Nothing happened, and everybody said, it's a whole bunch of hooey.
It was a hoax, but it wasn't a hoax because you did something about it.
Right.
Is there a preacher that said that the world was coming to an end?
Oh, and how many times have preachers said that? Just in 2008, the guy that runs Family Radio, whatever.
Yeah, there was some preacher. He had a billboard.
Yeah, that's the guy that runs Family Radio.
Oh no, I like that guy. Doc D something. His name starts with a D or ends with a D.
All I know is he runs a group of radio stations, and he predicted like in 2008 the world was coming to an end. He had all of his listeners believe in it, and
it was a different guy because something in the family or something is the guy I think you're thinking of, but I don't think that's the guy that said the world's coming to an end.
Oh, no, he did.
Yeah.
We were in
Then
Vegas.
he sold everything, and he was a mess. His life was a mess after that.
Yeah.
We were in Vegas. My friends and I, we went to Vegas. We're in a strip club. We said if everything goes crazy, at least we're in the right spot we want to be in.
There you go. Perfect.
Now, I'm surprised. How are they going to open up the casinos with distancing and all of that stuff? You know,
Disney World.
Yeah, well, they opened it, didn't they?
No,
Disney,
not yet.
Not yet.
One of those things is open.
In Europe, I think, or someplace else. Not the
Hong
States.
Kong. Disney
Hong Kong, maybe. Okay.
Yeah. But,
I got a questionnaire from them.
Yeah.
I got a questionnaire from Universal.
Mm-hmm.
They asked, it was like a 20-minute thing that they asked me to. I never fill this stuff out, but this was fascinating, right?
Yeah.
So I took the quiz, and they were asking, would you come to the park if you had to have your temperature taken? Would you come to the park if there was social distancing and you had to wear a mask and you had this and you had that and all these different things? And they kept, how about if you came to a park and you couldn't go up to a kiosk to order food? Instead, there had to be an app and the food was delivered to you. And I mean, they just went on and on. They're looking for ways to change what happens in these parks.
I don't see how they could have a successful thing with so few people because, it costs a lot of money to run those parks and there's a lot of employees. You've got to have a lot of heads at the door to make any money. And I tell you, the last time I went to one of those things, I think it was Animal Kingdom or something in Orlando, it was packed, people everywhere, screaming and crying, kids. I would never go to those places. They could take my temperature all day long. I'm not going.
Yeah, but it'd be nice if it was a lot less crowded.
Those rides. It was
They're talking about scheduling rides, so you would have an app when you come in, and you would show up for the ride when your turn was there. There'd be no lines anymore.
Yeah.
They're pretty much doing that now, but it'd be nice if it was less of a wait. They do that now. I mean, you got apps now. My kid was just down in Disneyland last summer, about 6 months ago, actually, just before all this stuff hit. And that's what they do. You schedule your rides. You basically sit in your hotel and schedule your rides.
Smart.
Yeah, but how do you clean the ride in between people?
I don't know. They weren't doing that.
Sit in the seats and
maybe they'll do some research and they'll figure out that when the sun hits the rides,
no, they'll give you
you have to drink Lysol before you go on it. So if you launch, then you launch in Lysol.
Yeah.
I was talking to Apple. I was on the phone with Apple tonight because my wife got a new Apple Watch and we were having some issues with an app on it, and I wanted to get their help. And while I was waiting for the watch to do its thing, I was talking to her. I said, "Are you working from home?" She says, "No, I'm working in an Apple building." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah." And they've changed everything here. We have they have cubes, and they have plexiglass all around them.
Yeah.
And they have to, when they leave that area, they must wear a mask. They're not allowed to linger or move. They have very, very specific rules about where they can go, what they can do, and they must be wearing a mask at all times in the facility. She said, but it's it's working.
Well, the break room must be a living hell then.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge.
Why do the people that work on the helpline have to be in the facility? Why couldn't they?
That's a good question. I didn't get to ask her that, but I was like, really, why couldn't you do your job at home? And the question, because I told her I work from home, and she said, I would love that, but we have to be here.
Were they in Cupertino or Houston or where?
I didn't ask her what facility she was in.
Because they paid a lot of money for that building. I'm sure they want to shove people into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend, well, a guy at work used to work there, and he says in the UFO you could stand up and you look and you see all the way across the building because they have low profile. All the conference rooms are glass, so it's just like you see forever.
That was their big thing.
I brought
open concept.
I brought this up last night, and let me just mention it here because we only have about 8 minutes left. In all of this, there has been one wonderful, heartening moment, and that was the space shot the other day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it just, for at least a little while, I felt good. You know?
Yeah. When he got to the international station, and they got greeted by the other astronauts. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep, sure was.
But watching that whole thing, and you can go back online, everybody, and see a distillation of it. There's a tour they do inside the capsule, and you see them showing up there in the docks, and then they crawl out through their little hole into the space station, and it made me just say, gee, there was an episode. I don't know if you ever saw a show called Sports Night.
No.
But there was an episode in which they're covering this guy who's climbing to the top of Mount Everest, and then he's watching it. The head of the guy who runs the show is watching it on the screen with some guys, like a street guy he picked up, and they're both watching it together in awe at what this guy is doing by getting to the top of Mount Everest. And the last line of the show was, it was written by Aaron Sorkin, gee, look what we can do. And that's how I felt about this once again, was, look, I felt wonderful when we went to the moon, but this somehow eclipsed it in my mind. Because this was technology now running the game, rather than just trying to put something together and send people up in a tin can. And amazing, just amazing.
Did you ever read any of the crap that some of these people on your live chat write?
No.
I think Pasta says, I was wanting it to crash. What kind of lowlights you got that write?
Who the hell said that?
Who wrote that? Oh, yeah, Tyson's Acosta. I was wanting it to crash. Okay, Tyson, goodbye.
Time out.
Time out. I'm putting you on
Just
time
got
out.
promoted.
Time out. Okay, there we go. You can't write anything for the rest of the show.
What up?
And I think they had really good shows before the launch, where they showed all the failures and all the problems and all the testing they had to do, even the abort testing they had to do. Really, I mean, they put a lot of work. Elon Musk put a lot of work into that.
Well, they do an abort testing because they wanted to make sure that thing would go away from the rocket, okay, and then it has its own power and could bring it down with parachutes and so on.
The rocket came back down and landed on was it a ship or a platform?
They've been doing that now for over a year now.
I'm always amazed by that they can do it. They could save that rocket. They could reuse it.
They could probably do it. They could probably do it with the capsule, but they're not going to. They're going to do a water landing with it. But they could probably do it because they do have the technology to make it do that too. But I think they feel safer going into the water at this point.
Hey,
what?
You got 54 on your chat?
Really?
Or your viewer?
Wow, that's an all-time high, isn't it, or something?
I think so. Or
it's close.
Yeah.
Oh.
What'd you say, Jeff? Did you just say something?
I said that's pretty good.
Yeah, well, it should be.
So the next meme,
The
next meme has that sign behind Trump. saying all the stuff that he said about grabbing the girls in the pussy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just start kissing them. When you're a star, you can do that. They let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them in the pussy.
You're just
DJT.
You're just jealous, Brian. You want to be able to do that, but you know.
Would it be wrong of me to say that the only thing that's given me any real solace in all of this demonstrating that's going on out there? Has anybody watched Katie Tour on MSNBC?
Yeah.
Huh? You know what I'm talking about, Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would I be improper by saying, what a rack?
Yeah.
There's
Still trying to get rid of that baby rack.
Yeah, she doesn't have to.
Yeah.
Looks fine.
Now, who's the other one? Chris that works at night. Chris, God, I can't remember her name. The blonde at night.
Jansing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Who's that really good-looking English gal on Fox Nation who's on Fox every once in a
I
while?
don't care. We don't watch.
We have
Fox.
no idea. We don't
Anyway,
watch
we're-
Fox.
Lara, somebody?
I refuse to allow myself to get a boner watching Fox, okay?
Try anyway.
There'd be something wrong with that, getting a boner watching
You
Fox.
can have the sound down.
Yeah. But Katie Tour, my God, I mean, it's not like she's being demure about it. I mean, am I right, Kevin?
Yeah, the sweaters are real tight.
Yeah, she had a kid about a year ago, and I think that was some baby stuff there. But
They
she's
haven't
not.
shrunk yet.
She's not fat. She looks great, you know. And then
But
Allie.
the other one that works later at night, she's been running down the streets with the New York crowd, and I noticed that as well. And I'm going, she's combing her hair and everything, looking perfect, going down the streets.
What I saw with Katie Tour today, is that she was wearing just a white top that was stretchy. Okay, and then a little bit later on in the day, she was still out on the street. She was still wearing the same thing, but she had a jacket she put on. Now, she didn't carry that jacket, so somebody on her crew was carrying that jacket for her.
Producer.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Katie Tour. So what time is she on? I may want to watch MSNBC or what is it?
She's on in the afternoons.
Afternoon? Okay.
Yeah.
Usually in the morning, our time.
In spite of the fact that she has a wonderful looking torso, she also happens to be very competent in what she does. She's a very good reporter.
I'm not going to listen to the sound.
Yeah. One of them was a Katie Tour who used to work for the Republicans. That was a Republican at one time, or is that one of the?
No, you're thinking of Wallace. Nicole Wallace.
Nicole Wallace, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Somebody wrote Lara Logan. They called her a complete moron, but let me tell you something. She's beautiful. She actually, I think, worked for CBS for a while and was in Fallujah or somewhere in the middle in Iraq and was captured and raped.
The one that got me.
No, that was in Egypt, I think.
And that was what's her name? That's not that was Laura Logan. Yeah.
Laura Logan.
Yeah, but there's one woman works over at NBC by the name of Casey Hunt.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, I kept thinking if I were working over there, I one time would say, so anyway, Hasey. I mean, Casey. I bet she got that all the time she was in school. Hi, Hasey. How you doing, Hasey? Yeah. But
I actually recorded her once making that mistake. Not that, but making the C word mistake.
Yeah. Now, what the hell? If you can touch them there, you can say it too.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, hey, that's it for tonight. Yeah. I've been kind of quiet because my eyes have been burning and I've got these allergies. Jeez almighty. Will it never stop? Tomorrow's supposed to get better. Anyway, hey, thank you, Jeff. And thank you to Brian Neary. And thank you to Phil Meyer and to Charlene Martinez and to Charlie Wallace and to Rob Alfano. And, of course, to our good friend Kevin. And, of course, to our curfew cam that's out there right now. Anyway, I want you all to give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give you a big wave goodbye back. There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the citizen panel for tonight. And what do you know? Skype worked flawlessly tonight. Oh, my God. I'm glad it worked flawlessly. Anyway, Jack Bishop is next. He's here with The Intersection, and so you want to stay tuned for that. Tomorrow night is another day in Wonderland here. Who knows what's going to happen with this democracy of ours, or our alleged democracy, our illusionary democracy. I'm just stalling because I looked and I still got another 45 seconds to go here. But I wanted to thank you all for joining us tonight. And listen, if there's a curfew out there, go by it, because it'll give the police a chance to go after the people who are doing something bad. And take care of yourself and be safe. And I'll see you tomorrow night, 10 o'clock, 10:30 rather, Eastern Daylight Time. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.